Yeah.
Okay, introduce yourself for those who might not know who you are.
Oh man, I go by the name of Part 1. How y'all doing out there?
Okay, what borough and neighborhood are you from?
I was born in Hell's Kitchen, part of Manhattan. I was there till the age of 5, and then from there, I moved uptown to Spanish Harlem, and that's where I made my roots at.
Okay, when did you start noticing graffiti?
Around junior high school, must have been like, 71, around that time. I noticed the tags on the street, and then I noticed that it was on the train as well, and it just I just gravitated to that,
Okay, who were some of the artists that you seen up at the time when you first got started?
Well, when I first started, you have basically tags, so you had all kinds of people like let's say Staff 161, Tracy, Straight Man, LSD, stuff like that. Then on the west side you have people like Tan 108, Dan 108, Mafia, Moses 147, Piper, and there's many more. There's many more.
Okay, what year did you start writing?
I was like in my second year of junior high school. It had to be like 71, because I saw it in the neighborhood, so I started painting in my neighborhood. I actually was doing stuff in my old schoolyard there, in my block, because across the street where I used to live, there used to be an empty lot back there. And I would take the paint and practice on the walls back there,
Okay, how did you come up with the name Part?
Part actually was given to me by a neighborhood cat that we went to school together and everything, because I was experimenting with different names. And he said, yo, try Part 1. And the rest is history, man.
Okay, was that your first graffiti name?
No,
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, Dr.Slick, Clue 2 without the E, CLU, and a bunch of other names. I just, I started with, at one time I was doing Ventura, and then I said, no, that's too long. So I started reducing the amount of letters I was using. So by the time I got to Part with 4 letters, that was perfect. But I got other aliases, so I kind of like switched it up, with 5 letters, and it works. It works. But Part is the one that stuck, to this day.
Okay, what are some of your aliases?
The famous Fudge 357, Worm 2, Mach 5, because I was a big speed racer freak when I was a kid. Two Pale, Worm 2. Yeah, that one had a little, there was a little controversy, but we all, we straightened that one out. Because there was a couple of guys that had Worm, and I'm cool with both of them, so it worked out.
Okay, who were some of the first writers you met?
Oh man, I would go to the Layup on Saturdays, and I met HYDRA. I got to meet Love One, which he was partners with the King of the Six, Take 5 back then. And I would always, you never know who you meet going uptown on Saturday morning, you know, and there's a bunch of other people that I met along the way, you know. Some came, some gone, some lasted longer than others. I mean, you know, because you know, people that write for more than 3 years is very rare, you know. They write about maybe 3 to 5 years and then that's it, you know.
Okay, what was the first time you hit a train, and what memories did you have of it, and who was with you?
The first one I did, I was with a few cats that I grew up with, and we was up in the 6th layup, and the piece wasn't pretty, but it was small actually, and it was floating on the paddle. So I learned my lesson well.
Okay, what crews are you down with?
Wow. I mean, I was down with quite a few. You know, I was down with the 6 Boys. Who else? There was another crew that when I in the early days called TWB, the Wright Brothers. And then in 1970s, the 6 Boys, of course. And then from there, when the Death Squad formed, that was pretty much it, you know. So now I keep it down to 3. Death Squad, TC5, and EX-VANDALS.
Okay, what was your favorite layup?
Well, I started on the number 6 layup, and they used to lay them up from Soundview all the way up to Zariga Avenue, Westchester Square, and then there was another one, like the next stop after that. But that was like my first baby, so to speak, the 6 layup.
Okay, I read an interview where you met HYDRA and Hindu too, and they put you down with the
Kindu.
6 Yard Boys.
It's Kindu too.
Kindu. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, that's how I got with the. When I first got caught, I was in the middle of the station, and HYDRA was painting at the end with another cat, and we wound up getting caught, and then we never seen each other again. But they were writing. They came to Broadway, and they were writing on Broadway, and that and Kindu had put me down with the 6 Boys.
Okay, how did you meet them, and what was it like painting with them?
Well, I never. I painted with Kindu. I did a whole car with him, which I got a picture of, you know. But he was a wild dude, man. He was tall, and he's the type that he'll punch you in the face and then keep it moving. But if you didn't know him, if you knew him, then you know everything was all good. I mean, when they came to Broadway, they had Broadway on lockdown. You know what I mean? They would be in there, and you know the mob would be in there. So to go in there while they were in there was not kosher. But for the most part, he was a cool dude, man. You know what I mean?
Okay. How did you meet Pale, and what memories do you have with him?
Who?
Pale, P-E-L?
P-E-L?
Pale?
Peel.
Peel? Is it Peel?
Well, it depends on which one, because Riff was the first one that was doing Peel.
I guess that's what I'm talking about.
Well, Riff, when the first time I met him, me and my man Panic, rest in peace, we were doing insides on the 4 layup up at Fordham Road. It was a rainy Saturday, and when we got off the train, because we had keys, so we would walk the insides and do insides. So when we got to the station, we climbed down, climb up the station, and we're going towards the middle of the station because it was raining, and this light-skinned brother came out of nowhere like, yo, y'all busted. And we were like, oh shit, it's Riff. And
Okay, going back to the Death Squad, when did TDS start and how did you get involved with the crew?
The Death Squad formed in 1976. And at that when they formed, they already had like a nucleus. They had like four or five people already. And they came to my school because Cool, the Prez, his brother used to go to my school, and I knew him. And he would always tell Cool about me. So they came to my school one day. It was Cool, Bear, rest in peace, and someone else. I forgot who it was, but they asked me. They said, "Listen, we started a new crew. Would you want to get down?" I said, "You know what? Yes. The rest is history."
Okay, who were some of the original members?
Cool 131, Bear 167, Mr. Jinx, Padre, Chain 3, Deck 2, and myself. And there was another cat, Buck, but he didn't really, put it in like we did, so. And then it just, from there, it just grew.
Okay, so you would eventually meet Riff 170, who also went by Worm. Was there any conflict over you writing Worm too? And how did that conversation go down?
Actually, yeah, because my first time that I painted with them, that day after we finished painting, we would go in the we went to a morning layup. It was a weekday. Then from there we took the train up to 149th Street, the concourse, where Writer's Bench is. And he happened to be on the station. And he says, "Oh, when we saw him, he says, 'Oh, you the guy that bite my name Worm.' But in reality, the original Worm is Bomber. And me and Bomber's cool, so he had no problem with me doing Worm. I mean, me and Riff is cool now, but like I said, they had it first, and I'm like, I carried the torch.
Okay, you painted with Case a lot. How did y'all meet?
Case, rest in peace, he used to go to a school where there's a lot of writers, and there was one cat from my neighborhood that went to that school. And he heard about me, and then he came to my, where I was living at. He came to my block and everything, and we met. And we just formed a friendship that lasted for a long time, until he passed away.
Okay. Any memories of y'all painting together?
Oh, we have plenty of memories, man. We have plenty of memories. One time we was in the 2-yard, and we was doing the whole car, and that's the famous Space Ghost car. And we got started like about maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and by the time we was finishing up, I couldn't see because I used yellows and all of that, and I couldn't see my piece to outline it, so I'm like, oh man, we're gonna have to wait till the sun come up. And that's what we wound up doing. We waited till the sun came up, and I finished my piece. But we did a lot of stuff together, man, with him. We had a lot of good times together, man.
Okay, did you ever go to the Writer's Bench at 149th Street? And who are some of the artists that you would always see up there?
I didn't go up there too much, because I had a bad experience. One time I got caught up there by myself, and not going to go into details, but it kind of like turned me off. And then another time I was up there, I happened to be with Knock, and the famous Hickey and Ski was trying to find out who I was. and they, they approached me and they were like, who are you? What you write? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they kept insisting, you've been hanging up here all week and stuff like that. We know you write. Who are you? I said, I don't write. We left it at that.
Okay, was you involved in the Star Wars movie, or did that come after your generation?
I was actually still writing, but the thing was, I was working. I started working as soon as I dropped out of high school in 1977, and no one approached me about the movie until after it was already done and they were having the preview. That's when they informed me. They said, listen, come on, man, they're having a screening of it. I'm like, a screening of what? This movie that they made. And then when I got there and I'm looking at the damn movie, I'm like, damn, man, nobody told me nothing. It's history now.
Okay, did you ever have a graffiti partner? If so, who was it and how did y'all meet?
I had a few partners. I started painting with Puma 107. He was from my neighborhood. Slag 108, he was also from my neighborhood, but he had a little beef with him as well. And in the beginning, me and Sly had a little, beef, but everything was squashed. I had my peoples that when I was growing up, we started out going together, and then I kept on, and they, stopped. Then I got together with Cool, and we had a long partnership, man. We did a lot of damage together, and that's it, man.
Okay, I've read stories where the one time could be pretty tough. Do you have any memorable experiences there?
I mean, when I first started going in 1974, it was lovely. It didn't start getting crazy till like 1980, 81. And there was one experience that something happened in there, and I never went back in there, So, it was a beautiful place, man. I had no problem going in it, man, but the neighborhood cats, they just ruined that place, It was sweet. A lot of people, they were like leery about the place, but it was a gem, man. It was a gem back in the early days, man.
Okay, did you have any run-in with the ball busters, and were you surprised to find out that they wasn't even graffiti artists?
Well, there was a couple, man, that did write, Like I said, that was the cause for me not going back in there, And prior to that, there was a incident that we were about to go in there, but something happened and we had to go upstairs, and we happened to be with Crash, and they rolled up on us. And I mean, they didn't do nothing. They gave us our props, but they started naming names that they were looking for, so I just left it at that.
Okay, how did you meet Flite?
Flite was, he was from the west side. He was not far from where Cool and Peso, he lived near their projects. And he befriended Cool, and he said, yo, if you put me in the squad, man, I'll carry the tradition, which he did,
Okay, I know you have plenty of these, but tell us your favorite chase or raid story and who's with you.
Well, the famous one was the first time I ever got raided. I got away. It was 8 of us. 4 of us got away, 4 got caught. And it was that turned me off to the elevated layups completely. I never went back to them again. Because first of all, I'm afraid of heights. And that night we was doing 2 whole cars. And we got raided. And I even climbed underneath the railroad, the tracks, and was standing on the ledge with 3 other guys. And the cops, I don't know how they knew we was under there. They came out of nowhere and they saw us, and I said, you know what, I'm not getting caught. I climbed back up. I went up on top of the train and I waited there for like an hour or so, and then I walked to the station. And by the time I got home, I said, my man Panic, rest in peace, he showed up later, and the guys from the block told him that I had, you know, because he asked them, yo, did you see Art? And they said, yeah, he got home a little while ago. So that was a crazy night, man. That was a real crazy night.
Okay, who was the Death Squad's biggest competition or rivals on the subway?
Well, you had the Fabulous Five. They was doing it big. And then in '77, TMT formed. So for some reason or another, Chain jumped ship. He ran with them because they were from his neighborhood. But it was not so much a rivalry, but it was more like, you know, respectful competition. And then you had Dondi, rest in peace. He, you know, he was watching us, and he was like, you know, them the guys that you gotta look out for, you know. So he knew what time it was. But there wasn't too many crews that had style like we did, except for TMT maybe, you know.
Okay, did you ever battle anyone, and if so, who, and what was the outcome?
I never got involved in any battles, man. I was like, I was always Mr. Get along with everybody. You know what I mean? It was all about having a good time, making a party of it, you know, hassle-free.
Okay, I think we covered everything there is, unless we missed something. Is there anything you would like to talk about that we haven't covered already?
No, I mean, you covered pretty much everything, man. It's just, you know, I don't know which way this thing is going to go, but, you know, it's still out here, so, you know, and you see it's worldwide, so.
Okay, any last words or shout outs to family members or friends?
Just shout out to my brother and my sister, my niece and nephew, my girl, all the cats that, you know, show mad love, you know, all the New York cats, all the West Coast cats, all in between, and big love to the Europeans, man, you know. Just keep making it happen, man, you know.
Okay, part 1, TDS.
Absolutely.